So thank you for speaking to Arabian Reseller. We would like to start with a brief about PrePay Nation's presence in the Middle East and Africa region.
Sure. And PrePay Nation was established about a decade ago in the US. Okay? And the focus was really to establish a network whereby we could help migrants in the US send value back home. We recognized that there was quite a gap there, where there were many migrants that were moving to the US and they needed to get value back home, small denominations of value. And it was very difficult. Right? The fees were high to send small amounts of money. And we established PrePay Nation to serve that purpose. And we saw a few years ago that similar ingredients existed in the Gulf region. So we made the conscious decision about 2 years ago now to start investigating how we could serve the Gulf region. And a year ago now, actually, we did our launch into with the opening of our Dubai office, etc. Just a year ago now. Let's say we moved in, made a conscious decision to invest heavily in the region, establish an office and a presence here, starting with really doing market analysis, understanding what were the specific needs in the region and how we could serve them. We've brought on a number of individuals now, established our presence here with people, and happily acquired a number of customers as well. It's been quite a journey over the last 12 months, very encouraging, and we will continue to invest.
In terms of the services and products that you offer on the market, can you give us idea on what kind of products and solutions do you offer in the market?
Sure. We established what we call a B2B ecosystem. Okay. If, graphically you'd look at it as a hub, let's say, that sits in the cloud. And on one hand, we have supply of products. On the other hand, we have distributors or partners, as we call them, that have large consumer bases that they serve. Yeah. The traditional product, let's say, that was established, as I said, over a decade ago, it was really telecom product. It was where we started, right? So being able to recharge the phone of your mother back in India, or being able to send a data package to your brother in Nigeria so that, he can stay connected for his work. As needs and as the entire technology ecosystem evolved, of course, so did our product set. And part of our job is really to remain relevant and make sure that we have, interesting, exciting, innovative products sitting on our ecosystem so that we can continue to serve. So we've evolved now into providing vouchers, gift cards, prepaid and postpaid billing products, crypto products, etc. Right? Really, it's a constant job of ours in order to keep building that product set. And as I said, one of the reasons that it takes time to establish entering a region is because you need to do that market analysis and understand who are the migrants that are here in this region and what are the products that are particularly pertinent to them. Right? Perhaps it's a pharmacy voucher in India, and maybe it's a food voucher in Nigeria, right? So we need to constantly be working with our partners and where we source product from in order to remain relevant and offer, as I said, kind of exciting and innovative products.
So to provide the services in this market, have you already signed up regional providers as partners as well?
Absolutely. So, as I said, there are a number of, let's say, regionally specific products out there. And so we invest quite heavily, not only on the sales side of acquiring customers that will then distribute to their consumers, but also, equally we invest on the sourcing side, as we call it, of our business, right? Where we build our network constantly and look at how can we find, let's say, pertinent products that are specific to the Gulf region. And that's not only for international, but also for domestic provision, right? With our single API, our customers integrate into our network and they have a vast array of products, right? And those products can be international, serving, Filipino diaspora that need to, let's say, access that product. It can also be for local UAE nationals, let's say, or residents here that need to have a single stop shop where they can, perhaps pay their DUA bill and also, acquire a due recharge, right? Rather than just focusing on international. So yes, absolutely, right? There are lots of, the voucher and gift card industry here is growing very quickly. It's actually one of the regions in the world where you see vouchers and gift cards are really taking on very, very quickly. There's a lot of innovation there, as well as in crypto products, right? You see the adoption of crypto products in the region as well is very interesting. So we're investing heavily in that space.
Okay. When we look at PrePay Nation's services in this market, what do you say is the USP of your service compared to similar providers on the market?
This business, if you just look at it from a vendor perspective, right, it can be regarded as a commodity business, right? I'm buying wholesale products and I'm selling them to retailers, whether they be digital retailers or physical retailers, to sell to their customers, right? the typical model of that sort of a wholesale business is I buy at a discount, I keep a little bit for myself, I share the rest, and ultimately consumer buys it, right? When we entered this region, we realized that even culturally, right, this region is much more focused on relationship and partnership. So I'd say that our USP, the approach that we've taken in this region, which is proving to be successful, is really to understand better our customers and ultimately their consumers. So really, we don't take a widespread approach and try and sign up 50 different customers. I'd rather have 5 good customers in the region, right, that I work very closely with, not in a vendor relationship, but in a partnership relationship to really understand how we can help them build, right, help them build their relationship and the loyalty of their consumers and remain constant and pertinent and interesting, let's say, right? So it's really about relationship at the end of the day, rather than just being another vendor that's selling a product to the market.
How do you compare this region with other regions where PrePay Nation is already present? Do you see any sort of unique requirements that this market requires?
Look, I think that it's constantly evolving, right? The interesting thing about the Gulf region is that because there's so much investment in growth in the Gulf, right, the migrant communities here are continuing to grow, right? While you see in other regions around the world, migrant populations have perhaps waned, in the Gulf, you see this constant influx because of the construction, because of the building, et cetera, et cetera. You see there's such a massive influx, and it varies, right? Historically, obviously, there's been a very large Filipino community here. There's a large Pakistani community, Bangladeshi community, but that continues to evolve as the governments in the region continue to open the doors for migrant workers to come. And accordingly, we need, I think, more so than, let's say, our traditional business in the US, which is, serving Caribbean countries or Mexico, et cetera, et cetera. Here, you see, because of this constant growth and influx, we have to really focus on, as I said, that vendor relationship doesn't work. You have to get down to this partnership level, really understand what are the needs of that diaspora in this region, right? And accordingly, it's really about product.
In terms of regional strategies, what do you have in mind in terms of, say, expanding into other markets? And do you also see Africa as a major market for the company?
Look, I mean, we obviously already serving a number of African countries. There's a large community of African migrants here in the region, of course, right, that are constantly in need. At the same time, Africa as a region, as a standalone region, is increasingly interested, right? You start to see that there's a lot more intra-African migration, right? And accordingly, that creates the need, right? The reality is that still it is exceedingly expensive to send small denominations of cash cross-border, right? And so this whole segment of what we call purposeful remittance or productized remittance is continuing to grow. So you can look at, a Senegalese individual that's working in Ivory Coast needs to pay his water bill back home, right? If we can provide that service through our network, right, it's much more, say, pertinent to him rather than him trying to save enough cash that he can then send that cash back home and hope that his brother pays his water bill for him. So, yeah, I think that the African region is very exciting, right? Because of the development in Africa itself. As I said, you're seeing more intra-African development and intra-African migration than you have seen historically. So, Africa for us is super interesting. It's an area where we're investing in, and I expect to see the same sort of growth and traction that we're seeing here in the Gulf region.
Thank you for speaking to Arabian Reseller. Nice having you with us today. And we look forward to speaking in the future as well.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.